Hey everyone, welcome to Build Log Week 8. I know, what a mouthful, right? Should be a really awesome week. Hopefully going to get a lot done. As you saw last week, I got the rest of the major parts together that need to be done. And so this week I'm going to work on seam lines, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that I look at that. Well, at least one very good way to check it out. Especially if you've never done seam work before, I'm going to show you a good way to find it and what to do. But hey, hopefully get the seams taken care of in the next couple of days and hopefully get started on the paint, which I'm really getting excited for. I'm ready to get this, really get this going. But if you're new to my channel, please click on the subscribe button. When you hit the little bell, you'll be able to see when I actually get these uploaded. And with that, thank you to all my new subscribers, and thank you to all that have subscribed and have stayed with me all these couple of years. Hopefully going to be a lot longer. Thank you. Your friendship and your advice and honesty really help keep my skill growing as a model builder, and I hope that what I do helps your skill. So with that, I'm going to shut up. Let's get to the Enterprise. Well, good afternoon. It is Sunday, and yes, getting back to work, but I forgot when I loaded up last week's video that I forgot to share this with you. This I got. These are leather hole punches, and it goes from 0.5, if you can see that, all the way up. This one is a 0.5, and it goes all the way to 3.5 millimeters. And the reason I did it is because there's a lot of things that I was doing on the Enterprise that I needed more circles, but I didn't want to try to keep. I looked through my stash of other Aztec masks that I had, and I've used all those extras up that he provides in them. So I went ahead and I bought these guys and use these. And so I'm going to show you real quick. If you got a good thick piece of fiber optic, it helps. But you know, you take an old vinyl sheet or whatever you want, and then these guys are just sharp enough. Let me get these out of the way. Get here. Let me see if I can get in a little closer. As you can see, I've already had some fun with this, getting to work. And you just push a little bit down, you hear a little click, and if you cut through the whole thing, you can use your X-Acto to at least get the paper backing out. Makes it a little easier. So there's that. Then I use, for these small ones, I use this clear piece of styrene, and I just go in and let me pull it all the way out and show you guys if this thing ever focuses. And there is a little punch I did. So I use this to get a lot of other things done, and let me show you what I use this on. Alright, so what I got these punches for was to help do some more masking of the strobes, and then smallers of the fiber optics, and then the insignia lighting. So, and then the phasers. So I did all those and got it on. And yes, I did go ahead and put it down a coat of primer, because you guys who've been watching me well know normally I try to get a lot of things done before I even do the primer, so I don't have to use it a lot. But I wanted to show this to you guys. If you're new to following me and you always kind of hear me talking about it, if you look to my other episodes, it goes, you know, your primer is going to show you a lot of things that you need to fix or take care of. And here you go. So, you can see, especially right here, this is where a little CA got down, and I used the uncure to help get that little bit of a mistake off. And yes, I'll have to sand it down, and then you can actually see all the little pieces. But one of the things I want to show you is here. This ship was so well designed, the seam went together really well, but I still have to take care of parts of it and do some cleanup. And I definitely know I'm going to have to do some light block on this that I made, and I'll show you that, guys, when I power this on. But I want to show you that. So let me show you on a bigger piece. So here's the secondary hull. Let me see if this helps, guys. Okay, not so much glare. Maybe not enough light. I don't know. Yeah, shadows getting in the way. Sorry about that. So as you can see, this is the pylons, but you can see the seam work that needs to be done there, the fix I need to do there, and then see all that seam work. So I'm going to actually get it all cleaned up and sanded down and then start putting in the putty where I need to, but definitely you can see right there, maybe, on the deflector dish. I got to do work on that, but I got to sand it down a little bit. And then on the inside of the neck I got to take care of. But I wanted to do this primer to show you guys. Well, I can see it right then and there sometimes. Sometimes you think it's really good. Go ahead and don't do any seam fixes. You know, make sure you get everything together well. And then go ahead and do a light coat of primer. And that'll help bring out a lot of the issues. So that's my plan, is I'm going to start on getting the seams worked on. And when I get to that point where I'm ready to do the putty, I'll show you how I do that. So, that's what's next. Well, happy Monday morning, everyone, and back at it. Just got the lawn mowed, so time to do something fun. So, what I did, after I shared with you guys what I did on Saturday, is I went ahead and pre-sanded everything. What I mean by pre-sanding is I want to make sure everything is level, because you know when you put parts together, sometimes they come up kind of like right here at the edge. You can see I still got to do a little bit more work on that, but get it sanded down and get all the gunk and make sure it's nice and flat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this off and put my putty down, and I'm going to show you that, guys. But yeah, I just want to let you know, one of the first things I always do is try to get everything nice and even the best I can before I do any putty, and then get rid of any, oh, what the heck was I thinking there? Or, oops, glue got on my finger, oops, in the model. So, I'm going to get some tape ready, and when I come back, I'll show you how I do that. Alright, everyone, welcome back. Had to get a couple things taken care of, but, so, going to start doing the putty work. And like I said, I've already got these flat, pretty well good and flat, and I hope, well, with the paint, it might be hard to tell, so I'm sorry. But basically, I use Tamiya masking tape, and this is the medium size one. Sorry for not knowing the size. But what you want to do is, there's my scissors, but don't really need them just yet. So, you see where you're going to have to do the putty work in the seam line. And you don't want to get putty everywhere, but just where you need it. So what I do, and what I've learned from watching other people, is I do this. I tape it, and let's see if I can bring it in a little better. There we go. I tape it to just about the seam line, not very much, over the seam. I'm not trying to go over the seam line, I'm just trying to create space. And you're going to have to, sometimes you got to keep working it, because this stuff gets a little funky to play with. But basically all you're doing is creating that line. Now I know I've gone over this several times in other videos, but for you just joining me and to my channel, I'm going to go again. So what you want to do is just keep it off the seam line, but make sure you're getting that coverage, and sometimes you're going to have to cut it and keep going. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to cut it right there and go there, and then I'm going to start over here and do just the same thing. I'm not going to get it on the seam, but I'm going to get it near it, so I have that nice line that I won't be getting too much putty everywhere, but I'll be getting enough where I need to. So, rip off another piece and you'll do the same thing. Sorry guys. trying to keep it in video here. Let me zoom out again. There we go. And then just do the same thing. Just get it close to that seam line without going onto it, and then just keep working the tape down. Now, like I said, the reason I do this now more than any, because when I used to do seams, I didn't prepare them like this, either get them flat or get them prepped and get this nice tape line, because I was too eager and wanted to get stuff done. But this, guys, will save a lot of headache and a lot of extra sanding. So there we go. So I'm going to get this finished up, and then when I come back, I'll show you how to do the putty. Guys, I got it all well taped. I still got to do work back here, but back here, but I'm going to get this done so it's dry and ready to go first. So everything is now taped. How I want to take care of the seams. So next thing is I use Bondo. Bondo glazing spot putty. And this stuff is really, really, really awesome. I don't put a whole lot out at first because I don't really, sometimes I just don't know how much I'm going to use. But I got a toothpick, and then I get a little bit on there. Let me get that in the camera. And then basically all I'm doing is I'm just putting it in there, getting that seam filled up. Okay, pretty easy. And I'm using the toothpick to help flatten it and get it in that seam in case there's like a really big, big gap like there is. And there we go. So basically that's it, guys. I just I do this until I get everything covered like I want, and keep going. But pretty straight and simple for the most part. If you think you take too much off, or you start sanding and all of a sudden you'll find out sometimes you don't put enough on, you can do that. Then there's another great way for like bigger areas. I mean, if you don't mind getting a little messy, put it on there, and then basically I just use my fingertip and just put it down like so. And this stuff comes off really good with water, so not too bad. And sometimes the fingertip method helps great, because sometimes working with the toothpick, it can take a little while to get in there, and then sometimes it just goes like, oh wow, that was easy. And then like I said, if you get a little much on some areas, don't worry about it. You can sand it down and get them cleared. And that's why I said this stuff is great, because it takes care of that, and it's really easy to sand. So, and then, like I said, you can see I got, like I said when I started, I don't put a whole lot down because I put a whole lot and only use a little bit. So just learn what you need. So there we go. Put that down for a second. Get a little bit more out here. And keep going. So, and then when you got pieces like, like that are angled into it, so it's definitely a lot easier to try to use the finger sometimes, because sometimes this stuff just does not want to do what you want it to. So, and you think, oh my god, I've put so much in there, and then, yeah. So just make sure you get it. You might have to go back and redo it a couple of times, but that's okay to get those really hard spots. And then, so like this spot right here, I might have to go back and do it again, but there. And that's good for now. And that's where we're going to leave that. And then again, just the same thing. As you know, I got a clear piece here, so yes, I got the tape over it. But this is the bottom by where all the wiring is, so Just like that. And I'm going to keep going on this, and when it's dry enough I'll pull the tape off and show you how that line looks. Well, happy Tuesday morning, guys, and I had some things come up that I had to take care of yesterday real quick. So, but wanted to show you, yes, the putty has quite a bit of time to dry. So, but when you do pull the tape off, do so with a little bit of ease, kind of like doing the Aztec Dummy decals. So you don't, because sometimes what happens is when you pull this stuff, it'll, even though you've got the nice line, because you got quite a bit onto the other side, you want to be easy. And yes, you will have flakes coming off, like so. And so sometimes it helps to have your tweezers, especially on these small or these gangly pieces, but then got to find you. And here we go. Just like thus. And yeah, and sometimes the tape, like especially this Tamiya stuff, loves to just be a pain in the butt. So again, be careful. If you need to, grab your X-Acto knife to help move it, and there it is, under the cover. So like if it rips like that, just get your X-Acto knife and help pop it up, and then there you go. And sometimes it's nice, sometimes this tape doesn't always, on the opposite side, doesn't get real nice and flat, so it gives you a little bit more room. And then of course, there. Then again, you get this little piece like so, and there. And I did cover some detail up because I didn't want to lose it. So, especially like right here. And yes, because I put putty around, that tape sometimes gets a little buried, not to worry. So there. And then I'll take care of that one in a minute. So the next thing you want to look at is, okay, so now that I've got this off, double check your masks, make sure they're still in place. If you have to, kind of trim like so, and then get those masks pushed back up. And if they don't, that's okay, because sometimes these masks, you know. But then what you want to do is, I take this blue sanding stick, because it's got this nice fine, it's not real fine, but it's fine enough that it's not going to cause a lot of scratching, but it loves to take away this putty. So, and then don't get aggressive, just do a light, very light pressure, and bring that down. And then you can feel along and see what else you got to do. And then once you get it where you think it's good enough and flat, then you will run another light coat of primer to see. And I will show you that, guys, when I get this done. So with that, I'm going to get the other parts puttied up, and we'll get to getting this thing going on. But yeah, and then like where you run your fiber optics, you're going to want to be a little more tender. But yeah, there we go. Oh, and one other thing. So you got, say you got big pieces like this that you had to do. What I like to do first off is sometimes I'll take my X-Acto and just kind of start scraping to get that excess off, because it's a little bit built up, and it's not gonna, and I don't use enough to take it all the way off. I just use it to scrape like so. So as you can tell, then I just get that bulk off. So you can definitely use your X-Acto to help take those edges down a little bit, but like I said, be careful, because what you really want to do is, like I said, use your sanding stick to get a lot of this done. And I know there's a edge piece here, so I just work it down, and it does take, sometimes it does take a little bit, but hey, that's okay, you know, no rush. We just want to get it nice, good, and level. So with that, guys, I'm going to get the other pieces puttied up and start working on this one. Alright, welcome back, and yes, tape's off, putty lines are done, now I get to sand those. But one of the things I did do is I took my liquid plastic putty like this, let me get that way you can read it, and you get spots on some kits. You'll get, like I did here, I got gaps right here where you can see the white putty where it just, and I'm again thinking, because I let this sit so long before I belted, but where it was a little warped, it wouldn't fit just right. So I used the liquid plastic putty and filled those in, and now I'm just waiting for it to dry. That's why this is setting aside. But yes, done, and yes, I still have to fill that one, but other than that, yeah, getting there. So hopefully, like I said, we're gonna get some paint on this soon. And the cells are all puttied up, and as you can tell, guys, I'm starting on the saucer. And don't worry, some of the window masks, yes, they disappear, but the great thing about Lou, when he does this, he gives you enough extra in case you need them. So I'm doing sand, and I'm going with the 320 grit right now just to knock it down, and then I'm going with a 1000 grit just to make everything nice and pretty again, as you can tell. So this is the rough, and here's the grit. So that's what I'm up to now, is I'm just going through and getting these sanded and ready to do another layer of primer after I mask everything back off again and touch up and do with the primer, so I can make sure that everything looks well, and then on to paint. But let me get this all sanded and I'll show you what that looks like, guys, so you guys can have a decent idea when you start sanding your kits what you should look for and do, and what you already do, but I'll show you. So with that, guys, well, good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, and yes, it is morning and getting stuff done. So I've already got everything sanded down roughly and got her good and level. So the next thing I got to do is put a primer coat and see what else I need to touch up. Just wanted to show you that. That's in a cell and the fun of the secondary hull. Now before I primer it, I got to go replace masks that were gone, that I lost along the way. But as you guys can see, I'm very happy so far. So with the primer, we're going to be able to tell, I'll be able to tell what else needs to be fixed, and good to go. And everything looks good, and there's not very many fixes or very light fixes. We're going to get started on paint. But like I said, first thing I got to do is go and replace window masks and other masks that got lost along the way while doing the sanding. So let me get that done, guys, and when we come back, I'll let you see what it looks like all primered up and ready to either fix some more or get... Well, we are now at Wednesday afternoon. I let everything get a good dry drying after I did the primer. Now, like I said, normally I do the putty and the sanding before, but I wanted to show you guys. So yes, I still gotta go over here and replace a couple of those again. But everything turned out really well on the edge of the saucer, like I wanted, except right here. So I gotta fix that, but it turned out great. Now on the nacelles, again, it actually turned out really good, but you can see when you put that next coat of primer on after you do the puttying and the sanding down and where you feel is good, that putty is going to actually help show up the areas that need just a little more work, as you can see. Not much, just a little. And then again on the secondary hull. So this actually turned out really good. I got to do a little bit of work there. And then on the bottom I got to do a little work there and there, but and a little bit more there, but actually everything turned out really, really good. So what this means is I'm going to go ahead and do these little bits of fixes, but we're getting on to paint, and the first thing I'm going to do is the saucer section, because it's the biggest, it's the easiest to see, and yeah, that's me. And then, like I said, but first I'm going to fix the issues I need to, and then we're on to paint. So, all right, welcome back, and yes, we're going to get started on the painting. I'm pretty happy with everything. I might do a little more on that, but we'll see how it goes with the painting. So, like with all things, I'm gonna do pre-shading, and you're probably going, what the heck are you doing pre-shading for, Buck? Because you got all the different layers for the Aztecing. I understand, but I'm hoping I do a light enough stream or a light enough coat that some of that shading will still be able to show through everything I do. So I'm gonna start with pre-shading, and then for my main coat of the hull, I'm going to go with light sea gray. I actually like it. I've started up, looked at it. It's going to be very nice. And then what I'll do is I'm going to do medium sea gray, but I'll start thinning it out with a little bit of white till I get up to where I'm doing the sky gray and then my white gray. This is going to be probably, I'm going to save this for the overall dusting, you know, to blend everything in. But yeah, that's where we're going to start. But if you've never seen pre-shading before, here you go. So all I want to do is, I'm not going to paint everything black. I just want to start highlighting areas. And hold on a second. Make sure everything looks clean. Where the heck did you come from, buddy? Okay. So, turn the compressor on, just making sure that wasn't glued, double check. But one of the things, and like I said, it's not going to be heavy. Another thing, always have a paper towel or a piece of paper by to do your airbrush so you don't splatter. But just kind of like so. And I'm just wanting to highlight some of the areas and not go crazy. As you can tell, I'm just highlighting and going in. So let's do this panel line. And like I said, it doesn't have to be really straight, guys. Just try to keep it as close as you can, because the painting will dissolve that later. So, just like so. So, and like with this, I just want to get an overall kind of dusting into it. And when you do this, I would, you know, pick an area to, see, and just pick an area and just go a certain direction. And let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Like I said, I'm not going crazy with it. I just want to do a little bit of highlight. Like so. Here. And then yeah, like that. You see how that just spurted like that? Don't worry about it, guys. If it does do that, you can take your Q-tip, just dampen it down a little bit, and then just come and do one of those. Now it's fine. I mean, yeah, it's like holy crap, but it's fine because you'll be able to cover a lot. You'll cover a lot of that up with your other paint. It'll just give it a little bit more detail. But yeah, sometimes that does happen, and don't ask me why. Sometimes, and I do clean my airbrush on a regular basis. I just don't know why it does that. So, like I said, keep a, before I should have, like I said, before I painted, just keep my airbrush on and a paper towel. And if nothing else, if it does that, take a Q-tip and do the end of it like that to help bring it out. So, I know it looks messy, guys, but it'll get better, trust me. We'll make her look pretty. something around. And then, like I said, just pick a point. You know, did you see that? And if you guys see me do pre-shading before, you know I can go pretty crazy with it sometimes. But like I said, I'm just wanting to just give it a little bit of shadow, not a whole lot, just a little bit in there. Just like so. And then, you know, if you start seeing, because your airbrush can sometimes make these guys go a little crazy, your mask, just keep a good close eye, and then that way you don't blow them off and paint over what you wanted to keep on the fiber optics or the clear piece. And like I said, I just doing a little bit of dusting up here on this, just to give it a little bit of shadow. Not a whole lot, because this is going to be one solid color. Unlike a lot part of the ship when we do the Aztec. But so next part, like I said, you know, you don't have to go real over nuts. You're probably like, shut up, Buck, you keep repeating that phrase. Yep, just like that, guys. So, we'll get this finished up here, and then I'll keep working on the other pieces, and let this get a good chance to get good and dry. Well, I got to do the bottom too, so let the top get good and dry for a bit, and then get the bottom painted, and then yeah, then that. But probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything pretty well pre-shaded the way I want, and then I'll do each piece. But yeah, that's pre-shading to me. And like I said, you might, some will pick up, some won't, but I just want to give a little bit more depth to the model. So let me keep. Well, good Thursday morning, and yes, we're getting started on primary hull paint. Now I did a mixture. I could not quite, the hobby shop I have here in town, hold on, let me turn that off, has the T.B.I colors I really like to use, but they didn't have the light gray. They've been getting their shipments have been stalled because of all this. So basically what I did is I made up a lighter, it's not light gray, it's a real good base light gray. I just used German gray, the light gray that I did have, and some white, and then I just mixed it on my own, and I'm really happy with it. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. So basically, just like anytime you do any of this, you don't want to try to cover it all in one coat, and you just want to start. So forgive the noise, and as you can tell, yes, paint is going on, the paper is down. So and then just go over it slowly. And then, like I said, make sure you have your paper towel. You've thinned it down a bit. And then we'll just keep doing this. Now this is going to be the primary hull color. And then I'll start lightening up stuff as I go on it. So, you guys already know that, so, but here we go. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do all the paint right now. I'll do the stages with you. But, so basically, if you need, because I did the pre-shading, I'm going to do a couple of coats. And the first coat, like I said, just get it down, get it started, then I'll thin it up. If you guys want to check that out, I've done it on pretty much every video I've done. I've covered that. But this is just the first coat. And like I said, with the first coat, don't go crazy. And basically with any kind of airbrush painting, don't try to get it all down in one go. Because one, it gets really thick. Two, it's not going to dry right. And it could start doing lines and cracks. So I'm going to keep working on this. And I'll show you what the first coat looks like when I get done, and then we'll start on and then I'll show you what the second coat looks like when it gets done. So bear with me, guys, and I'll see you when I get this done. Okay, that's the first coat, and normally I let it dry a little bit, and you know, with smaller kits I'll try to get both sides so they're even, but with this, gray's pretty easy to deal with. So I'm gonna let this dry, and I'm gonna do the second coat and keep going. But another little thing I want to show you, because I got all the, I've already started masking off things that I'm going to need to take care of. These are all black. I went ahead and did that. I didn't do any gloss on to save it, but I did save the other sheets, so I can repaint these, the other maskings on these. But yes, and then yes, we're going to have to do a little gray or blue for here, and here on the edge of this. And then this one's going to be a lighter gray, because it's going to be the primary gray and then just a little bit lighter, and then we'll mask that off. But I'll get to that. But first, I'm going to get everything done up. So that is the second coat. So kind of what you want to do is just add a little bit more thinner. Just thin it down a little bit more. Get it really good and mixed. And turn your compressor back on. And then I'm just testing. And then because it's thinner, I will get even further away, because I don't want the paint just to gloss or, you know, try to go crazy. But you can see that right there. Yep. Just keeping this. Oops. I'll take care of you guys in a minute. And then, like I said, remember, always have a Q-tip handy, just to help clean out the nozzle, the spray nozzle, just to keep it from getting bunched up. But, yep, so here we go. And I will show you this when it gets done. So let me get this finished, and I'll come back. Alright, guys, well, that's, I did another little, got the second coat done, then I did another little light pass. I don't want to, because I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 different, at least 2 more colors with the Aztecing and everything. I let the shadows stay a little bit more. As you can tell, it's not crazy, but hopefully, because of the other coats that I'm going to do, the lighter coats will help bring it up. But this is what I like to see. So I'm going to let this dry, then I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. And while this dries, I'm going to go ahead and do the other ones. Get the 2 nacelles done, and hopefully I can start working on the secondary hull. So when I get it all done, when I get all the primary color done, I'll bring it back, lay it down so you guys can see what that looks like. And then, oh boy, we're going to start Aztecing. So see you in a bit. Well, welcome back. And now everything has had a good chance to get good and dry. I'm going to start getting some masks on. I still have to do a part here and then get this, and I'll share that with you guys, and I gotta mask that off, but just check that out. Looks very, very nice. And here is the secondary hull. Oh, sorry. It looks very, very cool. And the nacelles, both nacelles. There, let me grab the other one. So, there we go. So yes, so now the part on here I got to start doing is working on the Aztecing and the masking, but I want to get some things squared away first with the saucer. One thing I'm going to do is there's a red line that's done with decal, but I don't want to use decal. I'm going to mask it off and then paint the red on and then mask that off. That's my plan anyway, and keep going from there. And then I got to mask that off, but hey, getting ever closer. So let me do couple of things, and then I'll show you what I did with on here. So give me a few minutes. All right, see you in a bit. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead, instead of using the decal, I'm gonna actually paint this red line in, and then get it touched up later with the other color. But all I did was I masked around the outside because you know I've already got all the gray down. I'm trying to save what I can and just have to do little touch-ups. And then I masked off the top, and then the only thing I'm going to do is brush right here and get it taken care of. If you want to do that, you can. If you want to use your decal, you can. I just want to see how this is going to look without that decal, because some of the decals I will use, but some of them I'm not going to use because I think some of them are just kind of a pain in the butt, like the decal right there. So let me get that painted on, and I'll let you see what it looks like when I'm done. All right, there we go. And just so you guys know, I used a flat red. When I do things like this, I don't want real glossy. I don't want real shiny. I want to make it look as real to earth, or it is, you know, I think you know what I'm talking about, guys. I try to make it look like it, you know, like men have been working on it, not a computer. So I'm going to go ahead and get these off, and very carefully, maybe, but alright, let's go this way. And yeah, there's going to have to be some touch up on the gray, I know that, but I'd rather have that than the decal, and that actually looks pretty good. I mean, yeah, I got some touch ups I got to do. I got to maybe add a little bit more red certain places, but yeah, that's what I was looking for. So I'm going to let this get dry, then I'm going to mask that off and get this painted. And what I'm doing with this is that nice white gray that I've been telling you guys about. That's going to give that nice light look, and that way, and then I'll be able to mask off this whole section right here and then get ready for the Aztecing. But I'm going to let this get dry pretty quick, and then we'll keep going. So give me a second to reset, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So, alright, now that that's pretty good and dry, and that's the great thing about the acrylic paints, and to me in an airbrush, it doesn't take very long for it to get really good and dry, or at least dry enough that you can mask it. You know. So I've just used T.B.I masking tape. You know the stuff I've showed you, just the little one. And what I did is I took a toothpick and I got around the bottom and made sure I got that lined out where I wanted. And then I used a toothpick again to go along the top of that. And as always, guys, when you start trimming these, one, light pressure, and two, make sure you got a brand new X-Acto blade on there, because there's nothing worse than a dull blade. And then just decent, even pressure, even, you know, if you need to pick up a little bit and start again, go ahead, but just nice and even pressure, like so. And the good thing is, because I have that nice little lip that they molded in. Don't worry about that thing, it's a pain. It gives me that little bit of a ledge and line to follow with my X-Acto. So just keep, like I said, just nice and easy. And sometimes you're gonna have to pick up, because sometimes you have to readjust your blade. And just keep going nice and easy. And like I said, if you have to position things, do that. And normally when I do this, something like this, I like to have sections, but the problem is with this I want to make sure that it's all in place and ready to go. And yeah, I know it's going over the where I put photo etch. That's why I said light pressure, because you want it to not dig into too much, just like that. And there's the end of that line. Now, if I did it right, I can come over here and use my X-Acto and just start slowly peeling. And then, like I said, because I had to use that, I use the T.B.I tape, or the masking tape, some of my window mask will come off. If you see that, the easy thing to do is just come back over here and put it back on, just like so. And then shows I had two come off. Yeah, well, I can make another one. That's easy enough. And then just, again, slowly, very slowly, just pull. And then, like I said, look for your vinyl mask, because like I said, with putting tape on them, sometimes these guys just like to, they're just going to peel up like that. But easy enough to put back into place, like so. And then get you back on. Just like so. Okay. And just double checking. Make sure. And now I got to make another mask for that. But hey, all in all, not bad. So now, sorry about the phone, guys. So now what I'm going to do, besides get that mask replaced, is I am going to run tape at least around the outside of these panels to mask that, because I don't want that light gray to seep onto that yet. So basically I'm just going to run tape along there. But let me get that paint mask done, that window I lost, and we'll keep going. Alright, so back. And yes, I've gotten this masked off now. And because I'm planning on using this white gray, that'd be the lightest shade of gray I have that I got for this kit. I just ran a couple of test spots. But before I spray, sensor bands. Love these. Lou at Aztec Dummy really came up with a great idea on doing that. I love that because, one, I hate running line decals as thin as they are, and two, if I can paint it, I want to do that. I really do. So, with that, let me get something else here. And turn this on, and let's take a look. Let's see how this is going to come out. Okay, give me a second here. Put a little bit more into this thing and see if I can get it to. Okay. Alright. And again, just do a light coat at first, guys. Just get it covered. And then if you get pieces like that you see that the airbrush kind of went crazy on, you can take a Q-tip and just wipe it up a little bit. But you'll get it covered with the paint. So, and again, like I said, just nice light, even passes to start with. And I mean very, very, very light passes. And that just helps you get that nice base down. Just like so. Sorry about the phone. Then, and the thing is that the Vallejo air is already thinned out, so it might be a little bit thinner than what you're used to using. So just like I said, do light passes to start with. So I'm going to get this finished up and we'll take a look at it when I get it done. Okay. I do love Vallejo stuff. Still getting used to their air stuff, but I do use a lot of the paints and they're really good paints. I'm going to take a little practice. This actually doesn't look too bad, and I'm hoping we'll see how it does after I get all the rest of the Aztecing done as I bring up the lighter coats. But that looks really good. It's not real blinding white light like, you know, we see some things, but let's take a look. And yeah, there's a little overspray, but that's okay, because that's gonna get covered up anyway. That's not too bad. And then yeah, we got a little bit of right here, but we can live with that too. So that, now I'm just going, I mean, yeah, like I said, it will disappear, trust me guys on that. But not bad. I think I like that. I think it's going to look really good for this ship. Let me get it up there so you can see. I mean, yeah, we don't have everything done yet, but yeah, I do like that. So, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, probably going to finish up today with, is a little blue-gray. And because I got a big enough thing here, I can set this down and not get it damaged. Is this ring around here, and then here's a little bit of a bluer gray, not real dark, but it changes up the color. And like I said guys, be mindful when you do these panel or these sensor strips, because they like to keep moving on me, and I've patted them down, but shoot, you know, things keep happening, but that's alright. Once I get, I'll get that set. Alright, so I need to go ahead and get start doing some Aztec, because I got to take care of this center ring here, and then over here. So when you get stuff from Lou at Aztec Dummy, you're going to get different wedges. It's usually on a long sheet, but the best way is to cut it down to what you need to do. And then there is positive and negatives. So this one thing will do both these two wedges. Or here, let me show. This one slice will do these two wedges. And let me move it up here a little bit for you. So basically, you just figure out how you want to start, and when you get the painting masks, Lou does a really good job of showing you what that piece in the center is supposed to be, and you can see this is the positive and that's the negative. So following what he's going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put the positive here and work on the negative. So let me get this turned around a bit. And alright, got it figured out. So rewatching Lou's videos and looking at the instructions, and I had to go back to Lou's videos to figure out the placement. So when you're doing the ring that we're talking about, just that one solid, you know, that Aztec ring of the dark gray and the lighter, a little bit of a darker lighter gray, and you're Aztecing it, what you want to do is sensor line and then to the next panel line. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this bigger one's kind of broken apart, and I will show you that when I go to start doing this. But 1, 2, 3, 4 panel lines up. The 5th panel line right here, this is going to be your ring. So let's get that going. And we're doing the positive. So get him out of here very easily. Just, you know, you don't have to be too ginger with these guys, but it does help sometimes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one. So easy thing to do is get that lined up on the panel line, like so, and then I'm gonna just line them right there, like that. Maybe. Let me try this again. Okay. So I'm gonna line him up right here, and I'm gonna take, so right there, and I'm going to line it up to the panel line on this side of the neck, and I'm just going to push it down just very gently. As you can tell, I got to tweak this side, so let's do that again. So okay. Sometimes working with these guys can be a little frustrating, but that's alright. So I don't set anything down real tight until you know where you're at. So that's where this guy's going. Just like so. Like that. Now we know this piece here, let me try to zoom in here, hopefully, so you guys can see it. Okay, so this piece right here is going to be a solid color. So what we're going to do is just very gingerly make sure that's tapped down real good, and then I'm just going to follow the edge of it. And like I said, sometimes you go loose with this thing and it doesn't want to play. As you see, it keeps trying to come up on me. So I'm going to go right there and there. Now I keep a little bit of blank around, keep those pieces there. But so there we go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the negative part, or the positive, or the this is a negative, this is a positive. I have no idea. You'll understand me. So part 2. So again, what I'll do is I want to go ahead and mark it onto this side, because I know I'm going to have to probably trim. So I'm going to do this, get it lined up here, hopefully without too much trouble. Try to make sure I'm staying in camera for you guys and keep my big fat fingers out of the way. So there's that part. And then you know it is that much difference between the two. Alright, come on now. So, I mean, you might have to eyeball it a little bit, but it's not going to be too bad. So, we know there's that much difference. If I can keep this thing playing nice when it wants to. Oh, come on. Okay, so there, that's done. And now for the top piece, before I trim it, I want to go ahead and get this top piece in. And let me zoom out so I can make sure you guys see this. So again, and don't worry about touching it, but again, line it up with the top of the panel line on the panel you're working with and the edge of it, and then just, which is really good because what I can do now is trim that little bit down. Like so. And if you think you trimmed too much, it's okay. He gives you lots of little extra pieces to play with if you have to do some touch-ups. But there. So now trim this guy down, or keep fighting with it to stay in place. And there are those two Aztecs ready to go. And then we just keep moving. So like I said, you want to go ahead and have your wedges cut out. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. And trust me, a heck of a lot easier. So put that one there. And then we'll go. And if you're going, oh my God, I use that one, how do I know? Because you get a lot of these wedges. It doesn't matter, because you use the middle, that's fine. Just remember you started with the negative piece, I guess, this piece, and that's what you're going to do with this panel. And if you forget, you can look on Lou's instructions to help you get to the next one. So, like I said, I got all the little panels done out, and the great thing is, let's do one more, and then I'll cut the camera off and keep going. And like I said, guys, when you're doing this, I'm sorry you can't see me pulling it, but don't be afraid. You can touch these guys. Sometimes even touching them helps a little bit, get that stickiness off. So, again, we're just going to line up with the edges, hopefully. And if you can't, it's alright, use your knife. And again, just be ginger with it. Gentle, not ginger. And then once you get it in place, because you'll be able to see how those match up, and nothing to it. So there's that one. And then again, we'll do it. Now the next panel is going to be easier because you have nothing to trim right there. So what I would do is get this guy down and there. Get him in place. Get the next part. Do the same thing, line it up with that panel line's edge. And like I said, if you got to move it a little bit, you can. But there. And then just make sure they're all there. Now this might look be a little bit bigger than what it should be, but it's okay. I'm not gonna freak over that. Stuff happens, right? Okay. And the last one for you guys, and then I'll keep working on this. And I like to take my X-Acto knife like this, use the tip of it, and like I said, I'll start lining it up, and then I'll just gingerly because you want to make sure, there we go, that those two pieces aren't, especially when you got a full piece like this, you don't have to worry about whether, you don't want it to overlap because you want it to stay like it is. So there we go. So I'm going to keep working on this, and then when I get it done, we'll get on to the next round of painting.